What if I told you that the peace we've known for 80 years is not a natural state, but a fragile construct held together by a fraying thread? What if the very technologies designed to connect us, our global supply chains, our digital networks, and our rapid-fire communications are being quietly reconfigured into the front lines of a conflict we are already fighting? Right now, beneath the surface of our daily lives, multiple regional fires are burning, and rival superpowers are rearming at a pace not seen since the dawn of the nuclear age. We are entering the most dangerous period in modern history, a polycrisis, where economic rivalry, territorial disputes, and shifting alliances are converging into a single, terrifying question. Are we closer to World War III than we think? So today, on this episode of the MegaBrainShow, we are tracing the arc of a global system under stress and asking if the box of international stability we live in is actually an illusion. But before we start, make sure to click that like and subscribe buttons. It means a lot. And consider watching till the end. Every view is appreciated. To understand the precipice on which we stand, we must look beyond the simple dates of history and examine the structural integrity of global peace. History doesn't repeat exactly, but it often rhymes. Political scientists point to the Thucydides trap, a phenomenon where a rising power threatens to displace a ruling one, making war almost statistically inevitable. In 1914, this was a rising Germany challenging the British Empire. Today, we see a parallel tension as the unipolar moment of the United States transitions into a multipolar reality. When these tectonic plates of power shift, the friction generates heat. We are seeing the same patterns that preceded the Great Wars: frantic rearmament, the formation of rigid military blocs, and a rise in nationalism that makes diplomacy feel like a betrayal. The great power peace we've enjoyed is not a permanent law of nature. It is a historical anomaly that is currently under immense structural stress. The current global landscape is defined by a complex three-way competition between the United States, China, and Russia. Unlike the bipolar simplicity of the Cold War, this trilateral competition creates what physicists call a three-body problem in geopolitics. A system where the movements of three massive entities are inherently unpredictable and prone to chaotic interference. The United States maintains a doctrine of integrated deterrence, leveraging an $800 billion defense budget to maintain the status quo. Conversely, China has shifted towards civil-military fusion, rapidly expanding its naval and hypersonic capabilities to project power across the Pacific. Russia, meanwhile, has adopted a restorationist posture, using its vast nuclear arsenal as a shield to redraw the map of Eastern Europe. This three-way tug-of-war means that a move by one power triggers a defensive reaction in the other two, creating a spiral of escalation that no single leader can fully control. The danger of a third world war does not necessarily lie in a planned grand invasion, but in the butterfly effect of regional flashpoints. In Eastern Europe, the war in Ukraine has shattered the post-World War II security architecture, forcing NATO into its most aggressive posture in decades. In the Taiwan Strait, the world's most advanced semiconductor supply chain, the oil of the digital age, sits in the crosshairs of a potential amphibious assault. These aren't isolated incidents. They are interconnected nodes in a global web. A conflict in the Middle East involving Iranian proxies can divert American resources away from the Pacific, creating a window of vulnerability that a rival power might feel compelled to exploit. This interconnectedness means a single miscalculation in the South China Sea or the Suwalki Gap could cascade into a global conflagration within hours, as alliances automatically pull major powers into the fray. The defining characteristic of our modern era is the presence of over 12,000 nuclear warheads, a reality that dictates the limits of all modern combat. For decades, the principle of mutually assured destruction, or MAD, provided a grim stability. However, that stability is being eroded by the development of tactical nuclear weapons and hypersonic delivery vehicles that move too fast for current defense systems to intercept. Modern military doctrines are shifting toward the dangerous concept of escalate to de-escalate. The idea that using a low-yield nuclear strike could shock an opponent into backing down. But game theory, specifically the spiral model, warns that once the nuclear threshold is crossed, the pressure on the opposing side to respond in kind becomes a mathematical certainty. The doomsday clock remains at its most dangerous setting because the guardrails of the 20th century, the arms-controlled treaties and direct hotlines have largely dissolved, leaving us in a world where the red lines are increasingly blurred. If a global conflict were to happen today, it would not look like the industrial meat grinders of the 1940s. We are entering the era of hyperwar, where AI-driven decision-making happens at speeds exceeding human cognition. Long before a soldier crosses a border, the war begins in the gray zone. This is cyberkinetic warfare. The targeting of power grids, banking systems, and water treatment plants by state-sponsored AI. We are seeing the weaponization of everything, from migration flows to social media algorithms designed to destabilize a population before a single shot is fired. In this environment, the risk of accidental escalation is at an all-time high. If an autonomous drone swarm misinterprets a signal and strikes a high-value target, the victim's automated response systems might trigger a counterstrike before a human diplomat can even pick up the phone. The front lines are no longer over there. They are inside our smartphones and our critical infrastructure. Despite these harrowing trends, there are powerful forces acting as a brake on total war. Economic interdependence suggests that the opportunity cost of war between major powers is too high to be rational. A total war would mean the disintegration of the global financial system and the destruction of the very wealth leaders seek to protect. Furthermore, the memory of the 20th century's catastrophes serves as a psychological deterrent. We exist in a state of fragile equilibrium, balanced between the gravity of historical conflict and the necessity of modern cooperation. The future is not a predetermined path, but a series of choices. The question isn't just whether World War III is coming. It's whether humanity has the collective wisdom to recognize that in the nuclear age, there is no such thing as victory, only different degrees of survival. What part of this global shift fascinates or terrifies you the most? Is it the rise of AI warfare, the fragility of the Taiwan Strait, or the collapse of nuclear treaties? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey into the mechanics of global power, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and thank you so much for watching till the end. We'll see you next time.